Lance Hall here for the Metal Pit tonight, doing an interview with a couple of members of the Legions of Doom. We have Karl and Ron with us tonight. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Good. Oh, good. Wonderful.
I
Damn
got to
good
tell
to hear.
you, this goes back a long ways for me. I first heard the Skull album when it came out back in '85 on a rock station. I live in northern Vermont. Our
All
rock
right.
station was out of Montreal, Canada. And on Friday nights, they would do this metal show. And I remember tuning in one night and hearing them talking about this band called Trouble and this album called The Skull, and they played Prayer for the Dying, and I was hooked, hooked. Yeah.
Yeah, Pray
So,
for the Dead is a badass song. That one played a lot for years.
and I'll tell you what really fast forward a number of years later, I went and saw Clutch one night, and
Hmm.
they had a band called The Sword opening for them,
Oh yeah.
and they do a song called How Heavy This Axe, and the intro on that sounds a lot like the intro to Prayer. Um, the minute they launched into it, I'm like, oh my god, this is like Trouble, you know. You know,
Yeah, that happens a lot.
yeah.
I mean,
They kind of taken a different direction after that, but that initial first intro with it gave me goosebumps. Gave me goosebumps.
that's cool. I mean, that album really was heavy as hell, especially at that time. There was nothing like it.
Yeah,
Most shit was really fast and more like Venom wasn't that fast, but it's like Slayer and all the thrash metal bands are out there. But Trouble, that was something special. That one, for damn
absolutely, I
sure. Yeah.
agree. You know, but let's talk about your record. You got a
Yes,
band
please.
called Legions of Doom. The album, The Skull 3. It's coming out this coming Friday, the 13th, on TP Records. I've heard an advanced copy. Fabulous stuff, guys. Fabulous stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Um, talk to me a little bit about how it came together. I mean, you guys have probably told the story a million times, but there's somebody listening here tonight that's going to hear this that doesn't know the story. Give us just a little bit of a background, whoever wants to go with it.
Okay, we had a band called The Skull, myself and Lothar Keller with Eric Wagner. It was me and Eric from Trouble, and we did this after we were both out of the Trouble band, and we did two Skull records, which it was various members joined us, but it was some good records that we thought, and we
Awesome records.
awesome, thank you. And we're
Yeah.
writing a third one, and we're about 80% of the way there, writing it with Eric. And he wanted to take a break on that writing and finish his solo record, which he did, put that out, and then we went on tour. We're going to continue working on the record after the tour ended. And that tour, Eric Wagner caught COVID and he ended up dying.
Mm.
So, and I wasn't sure if I was going to play again. It was one of them things where, okay, what do I do now? And it took me a while. I'm like, and Karl was the first person I called. I'm like, dude, you want to put together something? You want to jam? You want to get together? And I'm like, if he said yes, then I would come out of my little semi-retirement. And I wanted old friend, I wanted to be in a band with this guy. I wanted to play music with him. And I said, would you like to play some of these Skull songs and do a tribute, a memorial show for Eric Wagner? And that's how it started. So we did a couple Eric Wagner tribute memorial shows after he died. And then Scott Riegers joined up because he wanted to be part of it. And we did the second memorial show. And we ended up, because I wanted to play some COC songs. I wanted to play Vitus. I've been playing the Skull stuff in Trouble for so long. I wanted to have some fun.
Yeah.
So we put together a little side band and opened for ourselves at one of the memorials and called it Legion of Doom, just as a joke. And the
Mm.
people dug it right away. Festival said, "Hey, you guys want to come play Europe?" We're like, "Okay, I guess we better think about this." And because I never really thought about continuing to Skull or doing something different. And with these group of guys, we're like, did the memorial shows. I'm like, "Would you guys help me finish this Skull record that we were doing, and then we'll continue as a band and do our own records, but let's finish this and play some shows and mix in COC and Vitus and all that stuff." And we all came together and finished a record and put this wonderful thing out, man. I'm proud as hell, and I love jamming with these guys.
Cool. Karl, when you came in, what was
Yeah.
your thought with things?
Well, I was rewind a little bit. I've got a band in North Carolina called Lie Heavy that I was just doing, and we signed a Heavy Psych Sounds and all this. But before all that, it was going to be our first show. Was going to be opening up for the Skull and the Obsessed, and we were super excited. We're like, holy shit, we get to play with our friends, man! Ron gets to see my new project, and we're super psyched. And then we were waiting and waiting, and then we're like, holy shit, they're not going to show up. And the Obsessed showed up, and then we found out that on that very tour that they were on, that members of the band had caught COVID, and Eric ultimately paid paid the ultimate price
Yeah.
on that. And I got word, and it was just heartbreaking. So it was a really pivotal moment for me, and I was obviously just waiting to see what was going to happen, and trying to figure out where I was going with my thing. And then, as Ron mentioned earlier, he about 9 months, I guess, later from all that, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, man, you want to do this? Do you want to do some memorial stuff?" And I was like, kind of, to be honest with you, shitting my pants. Like, I'm super honored, but these are some canoe sized, aircraft carrier sized shoes, boots to put on. The Eric Wagner is Eric Wagner, and I'm like, I don't know if I can pull it off. He's like, yeah, come on, you can do it. And I came out, and it felt right. And there we were doing it in front of friends and family, everybody, that mattered, and they gave their thumbs up. And so coming into it, I was like, this is really life affirming, and we're honoring Eric, and it feels good. It feels right. It doesn't feel exploitative or weird in any way. It just feels natural. And I think, the best, I always bring this line up, but we went over to Germany, and I was, thinking, what are the Germans who have no filter, what are they going to say? And got over there, and at the last show, this big festival with me and Riegers and everybody, I came off stage, and I was like, man, I hope they liked it. And this guy comes up to me, this old metal, and he's like, Eric is smiling. Eric is smiling, and that was the vibe. People were just kept giving us good vibes and encouraging us. So
Most of the Germans liked it. There's one who doesn't.
no comment.
He probably hates Easter Bunny too.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy, yeah.
But
there's always that guy,
There's always that guy. Well, I tend to ramble on, but long story short, it's felt really right, really natural, and like Ron said, it's a bunch of guys who know how to play the shit out of their instruments and have been doing it forever. And when we get together, there's just not a lot of fuss. It's just like, hey, let's do this, and we do it. And again, I feel like, I was Scott Riggers and I. There's my girlfriend.
Here's Karl.
Stinky B.
Wave to Karl. Here he is.
That's my girl.
Here's Karl.
That's my girl. I love that cat. Anyway, so I just it's all been working out. It's been really cool, and Eric and Scott and I were handed these lyrics, and mostly finished, and some also obviously written by Ron to make things happen. And I'm just summing it up, but it was we just had to put our spin on it and do our best, and I feel like we did a good job.
Cool. What was it like? I'll start with Ron, and then I'll go to Karl. Ron, what was it like to had you seen those lyrics before, or when they the family was able to access Eric's computer?
No, he sent me some over. He used to send them to me ever periodically to check over, but he kept changing. He would take verses and move them, so I had bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And I'm like, going, these bits and pieces, I can't do a record with this. And when after he died, I had to go retrieve his stuff from the funeral home. They were gonna burn it. They were gonna
Yeah.
What, cremated?
Yeah, cremate him with all this stuff. I'm like, fuck that, give me his stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he had the book in there, and it was just a book of lyrics of what we were doing on a tour, but it had his crosses and rings and stuff I can give to his family and a cell phone. So I got that out to the family, and they're like, they don't have any of his passwords. I'm like going, oh, I don't really want to put different lyrics on these songs. It's like, I just wanted to just not even do it, But when they finally were able to access the computer, they got a hold of me like, hey, we got into the computer and there's a file that says New Skull Record with all these lyrics. So I'm like, please send them to me, So they sent them to me and I had to put them to the song. So I had to really arrange them to
Mhm.
what we had. And he had more words. So I was able to edit it and put stuff to the side. So I had a pile of lyrics that he sent me over to years and what we didn't use. And I was able to fill out the last song. Then there was one song that I just had like a couple lines left over that I kind of used that and used it as inspiration. I wrote the lyrics to the one song, Lost Soul. Those are my lyrics.
Cool.
Just a couple lines of Eric, and I just make it creepy. And Scotty sang it really, really creepy. So it worked out good, but it was hard to put the lyrics to the music, It's something I never had to do before.
Mm.
And I did it and just handed it to Scotty and handed it to Karl and let them do their magic. And they came up with brilliant melodies for the songs. We had no melodies at all for the songs either, so it was all brand new. And I said, you guys do your thing and do it how you want. Don't do it how Eric would have done it. Do it how you interpret the lyrics. And they did it brilliantly.
Karl, what was it like for you, interpreting those lyrics, that Eric had written and, you know,
Well, you know what was so I've said it is Eric had this way of writing that was just really like he had this prescience, like he could see through layers almost interdimensionally, not to get weird, but I think he had this way of projecting, almost knowing, I don't know if it was coming or just he could kind of talk to the beyond. And that's the thing with these lyrics. There's power in these words, and uh, it was like him projecting from beyond the grave and speaking to the now and to the future. And if you read those words, if you get a chance not to just listen, but to read along, you realize that there's some heavy stuff going on there. And it's almost as if he was calling to the future and saying, this is what's coming. And
yeah,
I know that sounds super cheesy and crazy, and but I'm
That
telling
was
you,
Eric. That's Eric.
yeah,
That's what he
that's
did.
Eric.
And that's how
Yeah,
his lyrics are.
mm,
yeah.
Great.
All his lyrics, just even on the Skull albums and Trouble stuff. I've always been a major fan, and always like, wow, this guy speaks kind of to the beyond, and here we are. All good things. Think about those words. You got to carry on. Like, where was that coming from?
yeah,
Like it was like words of encouragement from beyond the grave. Like, thanks, man. Wow.
yeah. Some people just, I don't know. It is. It's strange how that happens, that way
Yeah.
sometimes.
So
Cover art for the album and for the single. I do have the single. I bought that. I ordered that and I got it the other day on the purple vinyl. Very cool. I love the cover art on this, and I love the cover art on the album. Who came up with these?
Two different artists, as a matter of fact. One artist just happens to sell stuff on, oh, Jesus. Give me 1 second.
Yep.
Diego, can I call you back? I'm in the middle of an interview. Love you, bro. I'll call you in an hour, man. Later. That's our driver and merch guy for the East Coast that we're leaving tomorrow to do this tour. I'm pretty much the manager, so I got to sort all this shit out. But anyway,
Sure.
the one artist, I forgot his name. Henry found him on Instagram. He just does crazy artwork and sells them to bands, And he said, hey, you should check out some of this guy's stuff. I looked at all of his stuff and I found one and I kind of liked it. I'm like, can you tweak it for me? He's like, oh, absolutely. So he came up with the single cover, which is amazing.
Yeah.
it's very
Few
cool.
little tweaks. He was honored to do it. His name's on God, I can't remember his name on it. That's killing me.
No disrespect intended.
Leonardo of DreamWorks, something like
yeah.
that. You can find him on Instagram. He's amazing. But we did that for the single. But I had David DeAndrea already working on the cover for a year before this. He did a lot of the sleep, and he does a lot of like posters. He did all the Psycho Vegas stuff, Witchcraft. He did Ohm, Eye on Fire. He's from the West Coast. Great artist. And I saw a painting of his at a friend's store. And I asked if I could use that. And he's like, no, that's already owned by someone else. And I said, can you do something similar to that? And I gave him the whole vibe of what we're doing with the band. And hello. And he's like, and he sent me the first draft, and it was it. I'm like, oh, I guess he understood what I was looking for. I said, "Damn."
Yeah.
So I just had to change a little bit of the colors, and that was it.
Yeah.
He came up for our logo as well.
Very
So
cool.
Dave DeAndrea, man, he is amazing, amazing artist.
You're talking about you're leaving for some shows this Friday. You're playing at what, Widowmaker Brewing in Braintree, Mass, right? Do I have that right?
Yes,
And
not
then,
far from you.
yeah, not very far at all. And then
You coming
Saturday
out?
the 4th, I'd love to, but I'm working.
You
all
got you
freaking
got you
weekend.
got to wash your hair that night. What do you do?
Yeah, I gotta wash my hair.
You got to chase the mooses out of your front yard, right?
There you go. Yeah, I'm on
So
moose
actually-
patrol that night.
we would be remiss. We'd be remiss if we didn't say we were going on last headlining the pre-party, the opening night to a Desert Fest in New York
That's tomorrow. Well, Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, right? Yeah,
Yeah. So we got to mention that, which is the official kind of album release.
right.
TP is going to be there in force, on their home turf, and that's the send off of this whole thing. And then the next night, Braintree Widowmaker,
With
Uh,
Dozer, which is gonna be
those are from Sweden,
Yeah.
and then we're in my neck of the woods down in North Carolina, in Chapel of Bones,
Right down in Raleigh.
Yeah,
And then you got Heavy Chicago in November, and then Ripple Fest in that's
next
in September.
weekend.
September
Yeah,
next
next
weekend in
weekend,
Austin. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
we'll-
my
we'll get-
kind of all over the place here on my dates for your gigs.
then we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna sit down and have a band meeting and decide what we're gonna do and figure out what we're gonna do tour wise, and probably hit certain sections of the U.S.
Yeah,
Do it periodically because we all can't just go out for a month anymore like we used to.
yeah, yeah. Be nice though, wouldn't it? Just go out and just hit the road and do it.
I'd love
Yeah,
to play
man.
in Northern Vermont. I love it up there, man. I
Yeah.
play acoustic set on your front porch. I love that area.
All right, anytime, anytime. Porch is open.
my sisters, my mom all live up in Maine, man. We could totally relate. So
Yeah.
very, very beautiful up there.
It's coming in about 3 weeks from now. It's going to be gorgeous with the foliage. So
Oh, absolutely.
want to jump into a few of the songs and just talk about them. I made a couple of notes on a few of them. Track 1, Beyond the Shadow of a Doubt. A long time ago, I saw it was a cheesy sci-fi movie where this meteorite came down and hit a bulldozer, and the bulldozer came to life.
It
The
happens.
movie was called Killdozer. Do you remember it?
Awesome.
Yeah.
My note
Remember
is
the
that,
band Killdozer.
yeah, this has a Killdozer like opening. I mean, this just
Cool.
rumbles, and it just takes you. It's going over you.
That's our boy Lotar on guitar. He wrote that intro, man. And I said, just make the heaviest intro you can come up with for this record.
He did.
And the song, we're trying to do like a Pearl Jam type of song. So
Holy shit. That
no,
guy.
actually we weren't. Well, but Lotar, he wrote that riff, and me and him usually write all the songs together, and we put that song together, and it with that intro, man, it is a perfect way to start a record.
Yeah. Let him know a Killdozer like opening.
I like that. That's our Killdozer opening. I love
There
it.
you go.
That's awesome.
Then we
Get
get
that
into
video for the movie and put it on the screen behind us.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It'd be
That'd be
perfect. Of course, then we go into All Good Things. I love the video for this song. Great vibe. You guys talked about how you met with guys who just could plug in and play the shit out of their instruments and stuff. It looks like you're having fun in this video.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Absolutely, we were. We had a bunch of friends and family out, and it was St. Patty's Day, and it was at the studio of my good buddy who actually mixes our records, and we just all hung out and drank and ate and had a blast, as it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, all good things.
Yep.
Now, you mentioned Lost Soul. Give me a little more on that one. I love that. I love the timing change. It's got a killer guitar solo. To me, it had a very dark sound, but sort of like a positive message at the same time,
Well, always that's one thing with Eric and me. It's like we're never like like they call Trouble Christian band. It wasn't that. It's like we just all were about positive, like kind of like Sabbath.
Mhm.
They talk about the yin yang, evil and good, but basically try to give you a positive message, and that's what we need in the world these days. But the Lost Soul was that's actually the first song I can say that Legions of Doom wrote. Because this is after we had the record, and I'm like, we need another song, because we didn't have enough songs. Because Eric took a couple of them that we were gonna use and put them on a solo record. Fucking guy. But Lothar had all these riffs, and Henry had a bunch of riffs. So we put them together and came up with the music for this. Me and Lothar kind of arranged it. We're like, okay, this is gonna be interesting, And I'm like, then I just kind of just thought about an old relationship I was in and got real, real drunk on whiskey and it touched into the because I don't do that anymore, It's like, but I used to back then, and it kind of brought my brain into that where I felt way back then and what I was going through, and it just the lyrics just came out, and I'm like, wow, and it took me 2 days to get the lyrics for that song, and it's about having hope and trying to help somebody, but without being pulled down underwater yourself, It's like when like lifeguards always say, it's like sometimes it's hard to save somebody drowning because they're going to try to pull you down with them.
Yeah.
And it got to be a point where you can try your best and want to try your best to save them, but at the one point you have to let go to save yourself. And that's just how life is, Sometimes some people can't be saved and don't want to be saved.
Karl, do you have any of these songs you're looking forward to performing live, and any one more than the other, or are you psyched to do them all?
I'm super psyched to do them all. I don't want to give away our set, but I can give away our set. Obviously, so right now, I get to sing. We're singing a couple tracks each. Scott Riegers and I are doing like 2 tracks off the album each, and then we're all legitimately doing our own stuff from the past. Doing some blind COC stuff. He's doing some old school St. Vitus, which is super fucking rad. And to hear that with him doing it is incredibly cool. But for me, I don't want Ron to be mad at me, but I get to sing like some stuff off of the venerable American recording, the Trouble album that kind of broke them through. And I know he's probably sick to death these songs.
I'm not. I love that record.
I know, but for me as like this diehard fan, I was totally aware of them and liked them before that, but that's when they were just like ramping up. And
right. So dude, I'm with you because I'm the fan of Blind. It's one of my favorite records of all time, and I love playing them fucking songs that you playing for you. So we're in the same boat there, bro.
Yeah, it's exciting. So thank you. No, so it's super cool. I get to like do like stuff off of that, like The Wolf and Psychotic Reaction, I just said that out loud, but no, so that's super exciting in the set and album wise, I get to do Shadow and All Good Things. And, we're just getting started. This is literally our first opening salvo is this coming set of shows. So we're just working it out, but I love it all, honestly.
Talk to me a little bit about Heaven. That one's kind of special, that track. Whoever wants to
that one, okay. Because Eric, usually every record he would send me acoustic song and say, "Hey, make this heavy." I'm like, ugh, and I'm like, no. I mean, what? I can make an acoustic song heavy, just make it louder, So I would never do it. Then this last one, he sent it to me a while ago. He says, "I really want you to work this, please." And I'm like, okay, I will, and I thought seriously, okay, I'll work on this one, and after he passed away, he sent me the lyrics way beforehand, so I had the lyrics, which ended up, them lyrics didn't fit that song because he did a version of it on acoustic singing it. So I'm like, those aren't the right lyrics. Those lyrics ended up, a lot of them going on Hello by All Means, which was the name of the song, Hello by All Means, that he put on Heaven. But he did have on this acoustic thing he did, called it High Ideas. And it's just him sitting on a chair, playing a guitar and singing with one microphone. And so we had that. but we had to do that new technology like the Beatles used, which is amazing because Eric was a big Beatles fan, and they did it on a new Beatles song where he had Lennon playing piano and singing, and they were able to separate that. The technology is amazing. So we're able to separate Eric's voice from the guitar, and we got the voice and worked it so it sounded better and clearer, put it to a click track, and Lothar rewrote the song around the vocals. So he did a scratch guitar to it. So we had to record all our parts to that. So Eric's voice was always in the headphones when we were playing our parts. So it was really, the hairs on my arm are standing up. It was really emotional in the studio for all of us hearing that song. So that came about in a weird way, and it worked with the vocals, and you could just hear the emotion in the song on all of us playing.
Yeah, to me, it's brilliant. And to me, and I'm not blowing smoke here. To me, it had sort of like a Zeppelin feel to it, to my ear when I was
It's kind
listening
of
to
probably
it.
the way I played it. I played it like John Paul Jones probably would have played it
Yeah.
because it was more because I'm not much of a Beatles fan. Don't kill me, but I prefer the Stones and Zeppelin, and it was sounded too much like a Beatles song to me. I was in the studio and I was just kind of just the emotions of all we went through. It was just like fuck, and I just went off and played my ass off and didn't mean it to overplay, but it ended up the engineer's like, no, that was great. I'm like, okay. I thought I overplayed a little bit, but I listened to it. I go, wow, that sounds like a Zeppelin song now. So I'm like, okay, I dig it. It's cool.
Yeah.
One last thing to piss Eric off.
The other thing I noticed on this album, brilliant sequencing. It flowed great. Did you guys just sort of piece things together as it went, or did you set things in a certain order?
We always write records like a record. I mean, we write like, okay, this is going to be the first song. This is going to be the last song. And so basically putting an order of it, I just had a couple songs I wasn't sure of, but yeah, we're old school that way where we, write a record,
Yeah.
not just a bunch of songs and throw them together. That's why we know we have the first song. Okay, we're gonna put an intro to this. Okay, here's the last song. We want an outro, and these songs are gonna go this way. This is gonna start side two, and
Yeah, I mean, like
I'm
the
into
track
it, man. I'm into it. I love it.
because like the track before Heaven was Incesticide, which is a real thrasher, so you're kind of like
Yeah,
banging, and then it goes into Heaven, and you go, okay, I can breathe,
Right.
yeah. It's kind of like a show. You gotta like the set list of the show. You gotta do that
Set
one.
list.
Oh, you gotta give that one, and then, but Heaven is kind of like us saying goodbye to Eric.
yeah,
How we played it. And then the last song, Hello by All Means, is like
The
his
funeral.
funeral procession.
Yeah, it's the
And
funeral.
everybody else join us in saying goodbye to Eric.
Yeah, and then
About-
especially with that outro, it's like you can hear the almost hear the coach and the black horses and the mourners. It's like going down like it's going away into the distance. That's how I imagine it.
yeah. My favorite track on the album was Between Darkness and Dawn. I like
There you
that
go.
one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the guy in that one sang it pretty good, man.
Who the hell is that guy?
Brilliant vocal performance. Oh my God, Karl, you nailed it.
Talk to
Oh,
us
man,
about it,
thank you.
Karl.
You know what? That's the very first song that I heard when we were demoing stuff over a year ago, and I was out there, and I was given the demo versions of that, the original versions, and we were at Lotar's house. He's got this home studio upstairs, and it was just me and Ron and Lotar hanging out and doing our thing and listening. And he's like, "Hey, just go for it. Just see what you got and hear the words." And I was like, all right. And I just opened my mouth and out it came. And, I felt I was all of a sudden the North Carolina, the Southern boy and the Illinois, just north of Chicago there. It's got a little bit of that backwoods Southern vibe, I think, a little Ronnie Van Zant thrown in there, not on purpose, just kind of happened,
Yeah.
on the verses, and then there's a build and then it goes somewhere else. It's just an interesting narrative and all driven by the arc of Eric's words. So I just trying stuff and it felt good. And initially what I first kind of just came out with is what we went with it, ultimately.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, like Karl, you mentioned, you got like heavy going. Ron, you were sort of wondering if you were going to still be in the business. You got back into it. And I'm realizing I'm rushing this year because the album's coming out this week. What's the future? Is this a one-off deal, or is it going to
No, no,
be
no,
a
no.
band, or?
Well, this is the third Skull record, right? We
Okay.
still have to do a Legion of Doom record, but this is basically the Legions of Doom performing the Skull 3.
Okay.
So it's like we finished it as Legion of Doom, that Skull record. So the Skull is kind of put this side. We're going to do a show once in a while as a Skull, but Legions of Doom is what we're going to do for the immediate future. And I'd love to write a record with these guys as a proper Legion of Doom record, you know?
There's a
So,
lot, yeah, there's a lot of riffs and ideas, and
oh yeah.
obviously Lothar and Ron have a ton of stuff, and um, just I got my thing, and then Scott Little, who I've been playing with since 1999, on and off with he was in Leadfoot and King Hitter, and did the COC Blind stuff with me. He has always been my right hand, just the way that Ron plays with Lothar. I've been playing with Scott for a long time. So that guy has a mountain of stuff too. So we're all ready to bring it in. Henry Vasquez, good old Henry, he's got a ton of songs and music. So we'll just see what happens. It's gonna be cool.
Hank,
You like that? Hankogram.
There you go. Excellent. Well, I look forward, to hearing another one, seeing as I've heard this one already. It's like, give me more.
Yeah, we're ready, man. We're ready.
God willing, man. Hopefully we can make it happen.
Absolutely.
Hey, if the Killdozer don't get us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
If the comet don't get us and the Killdozer don't roll over us.
There you go. You'll be set. Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate your time tonight with everything. It's been a thrill to talk to you. Like I said, this took me back almost 40 years now to when I heard that first first Trouble, the Skull on the radio that night.
I'm happy to be still going here, man.
Absolutely. Keep going for as long as we can. You guys keep making music. I could never play an instrument, but I could play records really good.
There you go. We all have a talent.
And I could talk. So you guys keep putting out the music and we'll keep doing interviews,
Definitely, brother. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in person one of these days, man. We'll get up. You played Burlington or something. I don't know if they have any clubs up there.
You could try for oh shit, what's the name of the club? It was a club that I saw, Higher Ground over in Burlington. They're the ones where I saw Clutch at, so they might bring me. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like that town. I stayed right in a hotel overlooking the water. I was waiting for the monster to come out of the water, but he never did. Lake Champlain, Nessie or whatever it's called.
Champ, I think they call him now. Champ, yeah. You guys get up to Burlington. I definitely will be at that show. But till then, may all your travels be safe and all your shows sold out.
Thank you, brother.
Lance, thank you so much, man. You rock, man. Thank you.
Awesome. I appreciate you both.
Cheers.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.